Oh, geez. Yeah, it's getting bad. I mean, it's getting really, really bad in the gaming industry. And it's only going to, in fact, get exponentially worse. As customers and consumers, we have been dealing with the most insane news coming out basically almost every single day. Everything from massive RAM shortages, causing huge spikes in DDR5 memory. And at the same time, seeing one of the big three RAM manufacturers basically just say, hey, we're leaving the entire consumer market and we're only going to be focusing on AI. All the while, those exact same companies are also going around and putting all of their eggs into the actual AI basket, while also causing massive increases in prices, not only for customers and consumers, but also for every piece of technology basically out in the market. There's even been rumors going around of a third price hike going on between Xbox and even PlayStation because of the massive RAM shortages happening due to AI as well. But you see, it's not just the physical aspects that we're having a problem with. It's also the content aspect that gamers will be having a problem with as well, because it turns out there's another acquisition, and this one is big. According to Netflix on the 5th of December, they tweeted this: "Today, Netflix announced our acquisition of Warner Brothers. Together, we'll define the next century of storytelling, creating an extraordinary entertainment offering for audiences everywhere." Now, I know what some of you are probably thinking right now. Alex, what does Netflix have to do with video games? I know Warner Brothers makes some games, and yeah, we've got a list of them right here. In fact, they've done everything from the Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor series, all the Batman Arkham games, some Lego games as well, and even some not great games like the Suicide Squad and etc. They even also have access to Lord of the Rings too, and basically a ton of IP that they could turn into gaming content. However, though, this in fact does impact you as an actual capital G gamer. You see, Netflix in fact even has its own section for games to be in fact available to play. You can even play them through the Netflix app specifically, or even on your TV. That's right, your subscription that Netflix already wanted to go ahead and increase the price for, they've already gone through and created the groundwork for going ahead and putting games onto that platform as well. In fact, just on Netflix's own website, you can immediately see they've already got games ready to go. Everything between Dead Cells and even Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Yeah, those games are a little bit older now, but that doesn't mean Netflix won't push more into the video game space as well. And if you don't believe me, take a look at this. According to Noble on Twitter, a Warner Brothers spokesperson confirmed that the 9 WB game studios will join Netflix, including NetherRealm, Rocksteady, Avalanche Software, and TT Games. Has it sunk in yet? Have you figured out what's actually happening? This is exactly what I've been talking about for the longest time. We are now looking at the platform wars, no longer the console ones, and where video games are not going to be seen as a main point of entry, but an add-on or an addition to signing up for that platform in the first place. People called Microsoft an entire monopoly for wanting to buy ABK, an actual video game company inside of computer software, buying another video game company. Now, however, though, you have an entire streaming company dedicated to only having content available to you via their own actual app and no other way possible, going through and encroaching themselves and outspending every possible bidder in order to go through and have that content for their own platform. Gee, it's almost like everybody that was mad about Microsoft and ABK should be mad about this too. But for some reason, it's quiet. Isn't that interesting? Now, the thing is, this isn't the only big acquisition that happened in the last couple of months. If you don't remember, Electronic Arts was also bought out by Saudi Arabia PIF deal. And it turns out that right now, 93% of Electronic Arts will in fact be owned by Saudi Arabia's PIF. That's right. Every single game company that has been walking around making millions of dollars hand over fist by selling you games that are basically incomplete, then selling you DLCs, are now being bought out by either private equity firms in Saudi Arabia or even then massive other multimedia platforms trying to go ahead and make a foothold into the content of you owning nothing and being happy. Now, I know you're probably also thinking as well, Alex, well, WB had those studios. It was part of the package. That's the only reason they would want to do that, right? Well, no, you see, because it turns out Netflix was honestly on a buying spree, and they just happened to land on WB the most. According to Insider Gaming, Netflix also considered buying EA and Disney. That's right. Yeah, Netflix got outdone by the Saudi Arabia PIF. And instead of just going through and saying, hey, we're just going to buy fucking Disney, they went ahead and bought Warner Brothers instead. Think about the massive amount of content, not only in games, but also in IPs, condensed into one specific area, one zone, directly only going through and providing the one way to access that kind of content through their own streaming platform. Again, we are transcending beyond console wars and moving into the platform wars. People chastised me about this. People said, Alex, you're crazy. The consoles will never go away. Well, we've got the beginning stages of it, where RAM is getting too expensive to be purchased and people can't even build their own PCs anymore. Now we're seeing major conglomerate corporations that were sitting there crying, saying how poor they were because you shared your password with your grandmother for Netflix, going around and spending hundreds of billions of dollars to buy every piece of IP they possibly can to place it on their network, and at the same time raise the price for you as a customer and consumer. Seeing as how that's the only place you can get that content, they'll be more than happy to increase the price of it every single time. Because according to IGN, Netflix has sent subscribers an email of reassurance following the news of its $82.7 billion deal to acquire Warner Brothers, amid concern over potential price rises. Do you see where this all leads? Do you see where it all goes now? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Platform Wars, where you'll sign up for multiple different services, have all your games streamed to you, and the only way you have entertainment now is to be beholden to those actual services and companies because they'll control all the IPs directly. It's going to get even worse in the future moving forward because everybody's still so stuck on the actual console war and my console sales and my Twitter, seeing as how most fanboys nowadays anyways only play this one specific game on their PlayStation 5, being how many sales their console did over Black Friday. And then of course celebrating those console sales on their second runner-up for Game of the Year every year, being Twitter. That's all these people do. That's all they talk about. They don't understand the industry at large and what's going to be happening in the future. We are watching in real time as all of these companies and all of these developers and every single kind of manufacturer that provides different kinds of actual pieces for either consoles or PCs move away from consumer parts and then move towards AI specifically, making it exponentially more expensive for you to build your own PC, or dare I even say have a console come next generation. And once that happens, well, they've sold you the poison, they'll sell you the cure as well. Turns out, hey, you don't need a console anymore. You can just go ahead and stream everything through the cloud. Pay for that internet, baby. You're going to have to go ahead and need it, because if Netflix starts going around and pulling all of their games from other places and only allowing them to be available on their streaming platforms, seeing as how people talk about how great exclusivity is, well, I hope you like paying for a service you only want to play a couple of games for because it's exclusive. Am I right? Boy! It's almost like every narrative that fanboys have pushed around the entire past 5 years keeps crumbling all around them. And I'm here for it. And this is why I'm making this video. We are seeing this in real time as all of these companies go out and buy everybody else to go ahead and create a massive library of intellectual property by going through and saying, hey, well, we own these IPs, we have this content. The only way you can see it now is if you spend all that money building your own PC or buying a console, which of course will increase the price exponentially, or joining our cloud service as well, seeing as how that's going to be the only way to be able to access this kind of content in the future, because you'll be priced out of everything. And every company is doing this. PlayStation has their own cloud service structure solution, which of course they sold you a $200 Android tablet with a controller split in half and pushed on the sides, and now you don't even need a PS5 console to play those games from the cloud. At the same time, Microsoft has been pushing its entire space of going around and saying, hey, well, cloud gaming went up 45%, so that's a great thing too, right? By the way, the next console, it's going to be rumored to be about $1,200, so that's going to be a fun one to see as well, because if RAM prices keep increasing exponentially and these companies don't want to take a hit in the actual cost of production, you're going to be seeing a very expensive console come next generation. And to make matters worse, even Nintendo's gotten in the ball of not providing you any sort of content or ownership of the games you actually purchase with game key cards as well. Oh, Yes, you gotta love it. How every single company is now walking around going through and trying to force you into either a service or lack of ownership for your actual products. But what if I told you things won't just be bad, they could effectively, in fact, get worse? According to Discussing Film on Twitter, Paramount is launching a hostile takeover bid to buy Warner Brothers. They are going directly to shareholders with a bid valued at $108.4 billion. $108 billion for Warner Brothers. Paramount. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I mean? This is not just a game anymore. These are companies that have way more money than sense, and they're going to go through and spend all that money to force you into their own online service structure. And Paramount has their own online service structure, and they'll be more than happy to lock everything away and then increase the price of those services to make you pay for them to get access to those IPs and that content, and not giving it to you in any other format or way. This is the future I've been warning everyone about. This is exactly what I've been telling everyone is going to be happening, and everybody thought I was crazy. You split your banana peel, bro. There's no way there's going to be a platform war. Consoles will be here forever. But it turns out that there may be, in fact, one company left on the block to stop all this from happening. And that company might, in fact, be Valve. Now, I know what you're thinking, Alex, what are you talking about? How could Valve and Steam stop all this from happening? Well, they won't stop it directly. They're not going to walk in and buy Warner Brothers, although they probably actually could. The thing is, though, what Valve is doing recently with the Steam machine could be the linchpin that people may not be, in fact, seeing. You see, because over Black Friday, something kind of crazy happened. And here's what Windows Central had to say about it. Xbox bombed on the US Black Friday, beaten by a console you've probably never heard of. You see this little guy right here? Yeah, this is basically the Kinect for 2025, a $250 game console that is basically just full of Kinect games that, guess what, ladies and gentlemen, you go ahead and access those games by buying a subscription called Play Pass, and they only sell it in two kinds of chunks. You can get a 3-month pass for $49 USD or a 12-month pass for $89 as well. Go ahead and use it a couple of times. They've already got your money, because if you're paying it for every 3 months, you're going to be spending about $150 a year. Buy the yearly pass, you're going to give them $90 for that entire year. That's right. Even the consoles themselves that people are saying blew out the Xbox and even outsold the PlayStation for 1 week before Black Friday on the digital version is going around and having its own sub-service and doing the exact same thing for half the price of most consoles. So what you're seeing right now are other ways that companies are walking into the gaming industry, going around and trying to find new ways of monetizing its users, and in fact, filling a void, the people not wanting to go through and spend $750 on video games themselves, or even the consoles, or the pro model version, or all the price hikes, or $80 games, or paying for online. And that's exactly why I brought up the Steam machine earlier. If Steam and Valve can get the price under a good threshold where it will be acceptable for most users, you could see that as a main stopping point for all these other companies going around and saying, well, we kind of have to put our games onto Steam, mostly because they have the user base, and people clearly do purchase their games onto Steam. PlayStation made $1.5 billion over the last 5 years simply by putting their older PlayStation exclusives onto the Steam platform. Xbox has made exponential growth and money going around and putting their games day and date onto Steam as well. And you can clearly see there could be a massive need for this kind of device in the first place. And I'm going to explain to you exactly why. You see, Jukin on Twitter said this: Morgan Stanley expects DDR4 contract prices to rise 100% in the first quarter of 2026. And to repeat, this is contract prices, not spot. That's right. When I say contract and not spot, it means one thing specifically. These are the contracted agreements that are made by Micron, SK Hynix, and Samsung with companies like Microsoft, PlayStation, Nintendo, and etc. for RAM. They are looking at increasing the cost of DDR4, not even DDR5 RAM, for next year to increase 100% and on the contractual level, which will impact every single other consumer as well. We are standing down the barrel of the most insane thing to possibly happen in the video game space, where we are looking at the possibility of losing access to basically every single IP being controlled only by a small select group of companies, at the same time having the inability to go through and build your own kind of PC and hardware, and also to go around and have those actual hardware components be increased not only by customers and consumers, but also contractually by companies, and the insane possibility of moving everything completely to the cloud and having zero ownership whatsoever. And in the one beacon at the very end stands the Steam Machine, your own personal computer that could be the one catalyst to go ahead and provide you an outlet of actual ownership digitally and provide you access to basically every game. Because like I said before, game companies, publishers, and developers look at Steam as the de facto marketplace for their games on the PC platform. And with over 1 billion PC users, you'd be foolish enough to go ahead and pull your games from that platform in the first place. Valve didn't make the Steam Machine to provide you a better reason to buy more of their products. No, Valve made the Steam Machine to go ahead and enter the market themselves as well and be actual competition in the platform space in the first place. And honestly, if you're looking at any company to go ahead and have some sort of semblance of trust into, it'd more than likely be Valve, next to GOG on top of that. But the thing is, this all relies on a couple of factors. Number one, what is going to be the price of the actual Steam Machine as well? And number two, what is going to be happening in the future? Because we are seeing people completely neglect and not move over to Windows 11 due to their massive AI issues happening on that OS, leaving Valve an open door to push SteamOS into that massive amount of group that have not been moving over to Windows 11 due to Microsoft and Satya Nadella's insane antics. At the same time, you're seeing Valve have the ability to go through and basically have that negotiating power of saying, we have all these users, we make this amount of sales every single time you put a game on there, you don't want to remove your game from our platform or else you're going to lose your money in the first place, thereby making their own hardware and having your own access points into that entire ecosystem and platform as well. It looks like Valve, in the end, may be one of the few companies actually providing people with proper hardware in the first place to play their games natively on, unlike so many others that are going to be moving over to cloud streaming. As everybody sits there and freaks out about console sales and how many PlayStation 5s were sold and how little Xboxes were sold or how many Nintendo Switch 2s were sold, people are failing to realize what is actually happening behind the scenes, being far too busy with idiotic statements online about console sales and console wars rather than not even realizing what's going to be happening, that in the future they'll have nothing to even buy in the first place except a subscription-based model to that online streaming service either. But like I said before, hopefully Valve's Steam Machine is priced correctly and even at a more affordable space. So that way people who are concerned about the entire cloud infrastructure basically just not only falling apart on them, but also trapping them into that space could find the new outlet for getting their games and entertainment on. Seeing as how the Steam Machine will in fact be a full-on computer, you could go ahead and play basically just any game from any genre and any era at any given time. So that'll be a nice thing to see as well. And so hopefully Valve can in fact pull this off and provide a new outlet for customers and consumers to not have to worry about digital ownership in the coming future. Not even having the most powerful PC is going to be better than having no PC at all. And I think that's really where Valve wants to move forward, is not lose any of their own market share in the actual PC gaming space to streaming services as well, where you'll basically own nothing and I guess pretend to be happy. But you know what? I want to hear what you guys have to say about this entire thing in the comment section down below. Do you think this is going to be good for Netflix or even good for you as a customer or consumer? Or do you think this is going to crash and burn and make things exponentially worse in the gaming space? I want to hear what you guys have to say. If you want to see more of this kind of content though, more PC port reviews, gaming news, Steam Deck videos, fanboy content, my hot takes in the gaming industry, and more, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 99K. And I just want to say thank you guys so very much. If you want Discord access or emotes during live streams, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. If you don't want to spend the buck, don't sweat it. Just come on down Saturday nights live, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, right here on this channel as I wear a banana suit and get insulted by about 800 people with AITTS. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, live right here on this channel. It's a hell of a live stream. I guarantee it. With all that being said, though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you Gooners next time. Peace!